Buzz Aldrin is best known for being one of the first two humans to walk on the Moon during the Apollo 11 mission in 1969. Along with Neil Armstrong, Aldrin landed on the lunar surface and spent about 2.5 hours outside the spacecraft, conducting experiments and collecting samples of the Moon's surface. Aldrin was also the first person to take a selfie in space, and he played a significant role in the development of space exploration and technology. After leaving NASA, Aldrin became an advocate for human missions to Mars and has been actively involved in the space industry, working on concepts such as reusable spacecraft and space tourism. Interestingly, back in 2009, Buzz talked in an interview about space exploration and said that a new mission into space will reignite the public's interest. However, at the end of the interview, he detailed that there's a monolith on the surface of Phobos and said that we should go and investigate it. He said the following: "Visit the moon of Mars. There's a monolith there, a very unusual structure on this little potato object that goes around Mars once in 7 hours." End quote. The Phobos Monolith is an object that has been proposed to exist on the surface of Phobos, which is one of the 2 small moons of Mars. The idea of a monolith on Phobos gained attention in the 1970s when the moon was first photographed up close by the Viking 1 and 2 spacecraft. The monolith was initially suggested to be a large artificial object, possibly created by an extraterrestrial civilization. However, subsequent high-resolution images and closer observations by more advanced spacecraft have only caused more questions to arise. Today, most scientists believe that the Phobos monolith is simply a natural geological feature, such as a large boulder or a rock formation, that appears unusually smooth and rectangular in shape due to erosion and other processes on the moon's surface. However, without going there and conducting experiments, some are of the belief that the mysterious object was placed there on purpose, noting that nothing in the surrounding area matches the strange object. The Phobos monolith mystery is amplified by the fact that Phobos is completely barren. Whilst Mars has an atmosphere and a weather system, Phobos sits silently in space, with its solitary monolith pointing up towards the heavens. What's more is that Phobos is tiny compared to the grand scale of the universe, making the sight of something so massive atop of a small celestial body even more creepy. The effects of erosion are common for strange discoveries on other planets. Mars itself has been the subject of many strange discoveries, such as the Mars face, the Mars pyramid, and even the levitating spoon. These rock formations are usually a result of our perspective from Earth, as well as millions of years of rock degradation. While interesting to many, Phobos has yet to receive any significant research or space exploration. Optech and the Mars Institute have proposed that the site of the monolith be investigated. This mission is referred to as PRIME, fully known as the Phobos Reconnaissance and International Mars Exploration. The proposed mission would see a lander touchdown on the surface of the lonely moon to take samples of the moon's geology. Currently, the PRIME mission is not set to go ahead, and talks of funding are next to non-existent. In fact, when Aldrin discussed the idea of sending a mission to Phobos, he said the following: "When people find out about that, they are going to say, 'Who put that there?'" End quote. Space has fascinated humans since ancient times. Our ancestors would have looked up at the night sky and wondered about the stars, planets, and galaxies they saw. As technology advanced, people began to explore space in greater detail, and this has only increased our fascination with it. Interestingly, NASA has captured some strange photographs over the years, causing some to question the origins of the universe and the possibility of advanced life. The mysterious towers photographed on Mars. Mars has always been a topic of great interest and fascination for scientists and space enthusiasts. The search for signs of life, the exploration of the planet's geology, and the possibility of colonizing it in the future have been the main focus of numerous space missions to Mars. However, recent discoveries have added a new layer of mystery to the planet, particularly the discovery of 3-mile-high towers found in a row on Mars. The discovery was made by the Mars Global Surveyor in 1999, when it captured high-resolution images of the planet's surface. These images showed a strange formation of 3 structures, each one approximately 3 miles high, located in a row on the Martian surface. The towers, dubbed the Martian Towers, have since become the subject of speculation and debate among scientists and the public alike. Some believe that they are natural geological formations, while others speculate that they could be artificial structures built by an alien civilization. One theory shared by scientists is that the towers are volcanic in origin, formed by the gradual erosion of the surrounding terrain over millions of years. This explanation is based on the fact that the towers are located in a region of Mars known for its volcanic activity. However, some scientists argue that the tower's symmetry and alignment are not consistent with natural volcanic formations. Another theory is that the towers are the remnants of ancient civilizations that once existed on Mars. Some have suggested that the towers could be the remains of massive buildings or communication towers built by an advanced Martian civilization. Those who believe that an advanced civilization once inhabited Mars have pointed out that the universe is billions of years old, and said that during this time, countless civilizations could have lived on planets close to Earth, saying that Mars could have looked completely different billions of years ago, and that these discoveries could be the remnants of these long-forgotten civilizations. Scientists have said, though, that as of right now, there is no concrete evidence to support this theory, and it remains purely speculative. Despite the lack of concrete evidence, the discovery of the Martian towers has sparked a renewed interest in Mars and the possibility of life beyond Earth. The towers are just one of many mysteries that continue to intrigue scientists and the public alike, fueling the ongoing search for answers and exploration of the Red Planet. As of right now, the discovery of the 3-mile-high towers on Mars has added a new layer of intrigue and fascination to the planet. While the towers' origins remain a mystery, they have sparked a renewed interest in the search for life beyond Earth and the exploration of our neighboring planet. As we continue to explore and discover the secrets of Mars, we may eventually uncover the truth behind the enigmatic Martian towers. Mysterious creature photographed on Mars. In 2015, a photograph of a crab-shaped object on Mars surfaced, which sparked the imagination of many people interested in the possibility of life on the Red Planet. The photograph was taken by the Mars rover, and while some have dismissed the image as a mere rock formation, others believe it to be evidence of something more intriguing. The photograph in question shows an object that appears to resemble a crab, complete with what looks like claws and legs. Some enthusiasts have even suggested that the image could be proof of an ancient civilization on Mars, with the crab being a statue or artifact left behind by an intelligent species. Of course, it is important to note that there is no concrete evidence to support this theory. NASA and other space agencies have repeatedly denied the existence of extraterrestrial life on Mars, and have explained that many of the unusual shapes and formations seen on the planet's surface are simply the result of natural processes. Still, the crab-shaped object has captured the imagination of many people and has helped to fuel the ongoing debate over the possibility of life beyond Earth. Whether or not the object is evidence of an ancient civilization, it is clear that there is much we have yet to discover about Mars and the mysteries it holds. Regardless of the veracity of this particular image, it is clear that space exploration and the search for advanced life continue to fascinate and captivate us. The possibility of discovering new worlds and new forms of life is a thrilling prospect, and one that drives many people to pursue careers in astronomy, astrophysics, and related fields. Whether it is the crab-shaped object on Mars or something entirely different, the search for knowledge and understanding is a fundamental part of human nature, and one that will continue to drive us forward in the years to come. Why does the International Space Station's cameras switch off when strange objects are seen in the background? There have been many instances where the live feed from the International Space Station has been interrupted or switched off abruptly when an unidentified object is seen approaching it. Many enthusiasts and theorists believe that NASA is deliberately hiding evidence of advanced life by switching off the live stream when such sightings occur. While NASA has never officially commented on these claims, there are several reasons why the live feed may be interrupted during such events. One possible reason for the interruption of the live feed is technical issues or glitches in the communication equipment. The International Space Station relies on a complex network of communication satellites, antennas, and ground stations to maintain uninterrupted contact with Earth. These systems are not foolproof and can experience disruptions due to a variety of factors, including solar flares, weather conditions, or equipment malfunctions. As a result, the live stream may be interrupted or lost during such events. Another possible reason for the interruption of the live stream is the need to prioritize communication with the International Space Station crew over the live feed. The crew members are conducting important scientific experiments and need to communicate with mission control on a regular basis. If a mysterious object is detected approaching the ISS, mission control may decide to temporarily interrupt the live feed in order to prioritize communication with the crew. Finally, it is also possible that NASA does not want to create undue panic or speculation among the general public by broadcasting images of unidentified objects approaching the International Space Station. These sightings and theories have always been a topic of controversy, and NASA may not want to add fuel to the fire by broadcasting such sightings. As of right now, many have pointed out the strange timing between the two events, and suggest that it's a strange coincidence that the cameras switch off the second one of these objects comes into the camera's view. Mysterious objects photographed above the Martian surface. There have been many reports of unidentified objects seen above Mars, which has sparked curiosity and interest among scientists and enthusiasts alike. There are some who argue that these sightings above Mars are evidence of advanced life. The idea that there may be life on other planets, including Mars, has been a topic of fascination and speculation for decades. Some people believe that the objects seen above Mars are proof that intelligent life exists beyond Earth, and that these beings are monitoring or studying our planet, further saying that this could be similar to us sending probes to planets like Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter. Believers have said that we've done it several times in the past, so there's a possibility that other advanced life forms are sending out their own probes to investigate other planets. Scientists have said that one possible explanation for these sightings is that they are simply natural phenomena or optical illusions. It is well known that Mars has a thin atmosphere, which can create mirages and other optical effects that may be mistaken for mysterious aircrafts. Additionally, Mars is subject to frequent dust storms, which can create unusual cloud formations or other visual disturbances that might be interpreted as strange objects. Another possibility is that the sightings are the result of human error or misinterpretation. As with all sightings, it is important to consider the possibility that witnesses may have seen something that was not actually a strange aircraft, or that they misinterpreted what they saw. This could be due to a number of factors, such as poor lighting conditions, a lack of familiarity with the object being observed, or other visual or cognitive biases. NASA has not publicly acknowledged the existence of mysterious aircrafts on Mars, but there have been reports of strange activity and sightings by NASA's Mars rovers. In fact, some people believe that NASA has been deliberately hiding evidence of these objects on Mars, and that the agency is part of a larger plan to keep the existence of advanced life a secret. As of right now, the sightings of these objects above Mars remain a mystery, and the explanations for them are still unclear. While it is possible that they are the result of natural phenomena or human error, some people continue to believe that they are evidence of advanced life. The mysterious satellite. The Black Knight satellite is a mysterious object orbiting the Earth that has been a subject of fascination and speculation for decades. The origins of the object are unknown, but some believe that it could be an advanced spacecraft, while others suggest it may be a remnant of human space exploration. The story of the Black Knight satellite begins in the 1950s, when a number of scientists began to report sightings of an unknown object in orbit around the Earth. Some reports suggested that the object was a large, black, artificial satellite, while others described it as a mysterious radio signal that seemed to come from the object. Over the years, a number of photographs and videos have been taken of the object, though its true nature remains a mystery. Some have suggested that the Black Knight satellite is a remnant of human space exploration, perhaps a piece of debris left behind by an early space mission. Others believe that it is an advanced spacecraft that was sent to Earth for unknown reasons. Despite its mysterious origins, the Black Knight satellite continues to capture the imagination of enthusiasts and theorists around the world. Many believe that the object holds secrets about our past, our present, and our future, and that it may be the key to unlocking some of the greatest mysteries of the universe. However, there are also those who believe that the Black Knight satellite is simply a piece of space junk, or a product of overactive imaginations and the human desire for mystery and intrigue. Some suggested that the object was a thermal blanket that was lost during a space mission in the 90s, but this doesn't explain how the object was detected by amateur astronomers in the late 1950s. Regardless of its true nature, the Black Knight satellite remains a fascinating and mysterious object, one that continues to captivate the imaginations of people around the world. The mysterious object captured during Apollo 17. Apollo 17 was the final mission of the United States Apollo program, which successfully landed humans on the Moon. Launched on December 7, 1972, Apollo 17 was the first night launch of a US human spaceflight, and it was also the last crewed mission to the Moon. The mission consisted of Commander Eugene Cernan, Lunar Module Pilot Harrison Schmitt, and Command Module Pilot Ronald Evans. Interestingly, during the mission, the astronauts captured a mysterious photograph that showed a triangular-shaped aircraft. Since the dawn of the space age, there have been reports of unidentified objects being seen by astronauts and ground-based observers alike. These reports have included sightings of strange lights, fast-moving objects, and even bizarre-shaped craft that seem to defy conventional explanation. While skeptics have argued that these sightings can be attributed to natural phenomena or misidentified man-made objects, others believe that they are evidence of advanced life. Black triangles are a type of unidentified object that has been reported and observed by many people around the world. These mysterious flying objects are named after their distinct triangular shape and are often described as being black or dark in color, with 3 bright lights at each corner of the triangle. The black triangles have been the subject of much speculation and debate among enthusiasts, theorists, and skeptics. While some people believe that these objects are extraterrestrial in nature, others think that they are secret military aircraft or experimental vehicles. Many theories have emerged about the origin and purpose of these mysterious flying objects. Some people believe that they are part of a secret government program, such as the Aurora project, which is rumored to be a top-secret military project involving advanced technology. Others believe that black triangles are of extraterrestrial origin and are part of a wider phenomenon of visitations to Earth. They point to the advanced technology and apparent ability to fly at high speeds and maneuver in ways that are beyond human capabilities as evidence of their extraterrestrial nature. Despite the many sightings and reports of black triangles, no concrete evidence has been found to confirm their existence or explain their origin. The holographic universe theory. The holographic universe theory is a scientific hypothesis that suggests that our reality is not entirely real. Instead, it posits that our universe may be a projection or simulation from a two-dimensional surface, much like a hologram. The idea was first introduced in the 1990s by physicist Leonard Susskind, but it has gained popularity in recent years as more evidence has emerged to support the theory. At the core of the holographic universe theory is the concept of holography, which refers to the technique of using a hologram to project a three-dimensional image onto a two-dimensional surface. This process involves capturing the interference patterns of light reflecting off an object and using them to create a hologram, which can then be projected onto a surface to create a three-dimensional image. In the case of the holographic universe theory, the idea is that our entire universe may be a hologram projected onto a two-dimensional surface. This surface, known as the holographic boundary, is thought to exist outside of our observable universe, and it may be responsible for generating the physical laws and properties that govern our reality. One piece of evidence in support of the holographic universe theory comes from the study of black holes. According to the theory of general relativity, a black hole is a region of space where the gravitational pull is so strong that nothing, not even light, can escape. However, recent research has shown that black holes may actually behave like holograms, with all the information about their contents encoded on their surface. Another piece of evidence comes from the study of cosmic microwave background radiation, which is thought to be the residual heat left over from the Big Bang. The holographic universe theory suggests that this radiation may be a projection from the holographic boundary, and that the irregularities in the radiation pattern may be evidence of the holographic nature of our universe. Despite the intriguing evidence in support of the holographic universe theory, it remains a highly speculative hypothesis that has yet to be fully tested. Some physicists argue that the theory is too speculative and lacks sufficient evidence, while others believe that it offers a promising new approach to understanding the nature of our reality. Regardless of its ultimate validity, the holographic universe theory serves as a reminder that our understanding of the universe is constantly evolving, and that there may be far more to our reality than we can currently comprehend. As new evidence and theories emerge, it is up to scientists and thinkers to explore these ideas and push the boundaries of our knowledge.
Aliens could be sucking energy from black holes. One way that we might be able to spot distant extraterrestrials is from their ability to harness the power of black holes, scientists have said in a recent report. The potential that distant alien civilizations could be sucking up the energy from black holes could also mean that we would be able to spot it from millions of miles away. The idea is that a kind of technology that harvests the energy of a black hole could leave traces behind. The evidence of such a technology would exist close by to the black hole's event horizon, which is the threshold at which no matter, not even light, can escape. Some have posited that this scenario could explain examples of plasma flares observed in the past, which have been seen to occur nearby black holes. In fact, a new study published in the journal this year has suggested just that. At the moment, this is all conceptual, but the hope is that eventually we may one day be able to harness such a technology ourselves. Such a possibility could give us a near-endless supply of energy, even if the nearest black hole is over 1,000 light-years away. In a closer time scale, astrophysicists are hopeful that a distant, advanced civilization might use similar energy-capturing methods. Luca Camiso, an astrophysicist from Columbia University, as well as co-author of the recent study, said that the most important stage now is to determine what this sort of energy extraction might look like from great distances, such as from Earth. In a statement to Live Science, Camiso said that it's this exact line of questioning that could help us find far-away alien civilizations. "We have only done the physics in this paper," he said, "but I am now working with a colleague of mine to apply this to reality, to look for civilizations, to try to see what kind of signal you would need to look for." NASA found strange radio signal coming from Venus. Even though scientists are always on the lookout for strange or seemingly inexplicable phenomena when venturing through space, when they do encounter odd or mysterious happenings, they are frequently not at all what they expect to find. Recently, NASA's Parker Solar Probe entered the upper atmosphere of Earth's neighbour Venus in order to collect data about the planet, and the probe detected odd radio signals coming from the atmosphere. And while those of us unfamiliar with inner workings of space might immediately jump to the conclusion that these could be signals from an alien race living on the planet, the true meaning is something altogether more exciting, at least for scientists studying space, that is. These radio signals that were detected are naturally occurring within the atmosphere of Venus and indicate that the Parker Solar Probe, flying over 830 kilometers above the planet, had entered the outer atmosphere, specifically an upper layer known as the ionosphere. Remarkably, the last time that anyone had been able to detect radio readings from Venus's upper atmosphere was almost 30 years ago, in 1992, which means that this new data will be able to give researchers valuable insight into the changes that have occurred on the planet in the intervening years. This is especially valuable as the unforgiving heat of Venus's atmosphere makes the planet incredibly hard to explore and study. And what did the researchers discover about the planet that was different than in 1992? For starters, the atmosphere appears to be much thinner than the last time that data was gathered. Researchers believe that this is due to the fact that the Sun's magnetic poles mysteriously swap places every 11 years as a result of the star's solar cycles. Before the magnetic poles switch, the Sun's magnetic field weakens and then flares back to its maximum strength before fading again into the next switch. Because the earlier 1992 measurement was taken during a time in the solar cycle when the magnetic field was close to the maximum, and the current reading is while we are approaching the solar minimum, Scientists hypothesize that the ionosphere of Venus is changing with the solar cycle and may be greatly influenced by the Sun's magnetic fields. Although why this is happening is unclear, scientists hope that future data gathered from the planet will help to clue them in. So why is this radio wave analysis of Venus important? Researchers are very interested in discovering more about our sister planet, as the composition and size is remarkably similar to our own. However, there are several marked differences that make Venus totally inhospitable for all possible life forms. Digging into these differences and how Venus was able to become so different from our lively, flourishing planet has always been very interesting to scientists. But the aforementioned atmosphere and 462 degrees Celsius temperature makes it incredibly difficult to get close enough to gather data, and landing anything on the planet is entirely out of the question. Currently, these brief snippets of information in the form of mysterious natural radio waves are all that researchers have to go on when attempting to unravel the mystery of Venus, and they consider themselves very lucky to have this small amount of information at all. Hopefully, future excursions like the one with the Parker Solar Probe can have similarly favourable results, which can add to the research and knowledge surrounding the mysterious planet Venus. NASA space probes discover man-made barrier surrounding Earth. Humankind accidentally protected itself from possibly dangerous cosmic events. An artificial barrier, or bubble as some call it, was found surrounding the Earth. This barrier not only affects weather events in space, but also protects us from dangerous cosmic weather. Human impact on Earth is undeniable, but now we know our technology significantly impacts our outer atmosphere and beyond. As it turns out, the bubble was created by the interaction of man-made technology and space. More specifically, the interaction between high-energy radiation particles in space and man-made radio communications from Earth. The radio waves in question are typically used to communicate with submarines under the ocean's surface and are frequently used in science, engineering, and military operations. As these waves work to reach their destination, they can end up reaching out beyond Earth's atmosphere and interacting with external radiation particles in space. Dan Baker from the University of Colorado Laboratory for Atmospheric and Space Physics calls the bubble an impenetrable barrier. This artificial barrier protects Earth from possible dangers like solar flares or coronal mass ejections. All these phenomena can lead to radiation particles entering the atmosphere, which could interrupt our electrical grids and radio wave communications. So how was the barrier discovered? In 2012, a mission was launched with the sole purpose of studying the Van Allen radiation belts. 5 years later, in 2017, scientists were surprised to instead find a low-frequency barrier that stopped dangerous solar discharges from impacting Earth. The barrier, or bubble, also happens to line up with the inner edge of the Van Allen belts. This information has scientists suspecting that the radio waves used in submarine communications, VLF waves, repel radiation particles. If we stopped using VLF waves, the radiation belts would move much closer to Earth's atmosphere. Right now, the radiation belts are further away from Earth than they were in 1960. Scientists have been discussing how this finding shows our impact on space. We have, without a doubt, made an impact on the Earth, but this barrier may be one of the best things that we have done for our planet. NASA is monitoring a huge escalating anomaly in Earth's magnetic field. The Earth's magnetic field is an incredibly important aspect to our planet that we do not often talk about. Not outside of science lessons, at least. The magnetic field can help us keep on track, keeping our compass needles pointing north, but it also keeps our planet habitable by deflecting solar winds that otherwise would threaten to strip away the ozone layer. You might not discuss the magnetic field on a regular basis, but it's a truly valuable player in maintaining life as we know it at home here on Earth. Lately, however, something strange has been happening to that valued player, with NASA feeling the need to actively monitor and track an anomaly found in the magnetic field where the magnetic intensity seems to have dropped. There seems to be a huge area in the magnetic field which is notably less magnetic than it should be. An area spanning over South America and Southwest Africa has been impacted thus far. This unusual occurrence, known as the South Atlantic anomaly, has been toying with the minds of scientists for years now. The American Space Agency has a number of satellites and spacecrafts orbiting in space, many of which orbit Earth. The concern here is that with the magnetic field being weakened, there is a greater exposure to the charged particles headed our way from the Sun. The South Atlantic anomaly does not impact life on Earth. It will have a significant impact on the spacecrafts in orbit of Earth. As they circle our planet at their low orbit altitudes, these crafts will inevitably pass straight through said anomaly. We believe that during these periods where they pass through, the lessened strength of the magnetic field can cause some disturbances in the technology used within these satellites. They can short-circuit, malfunction, and all manner of similar problems can arise where they are struck by high-energy charged protons from the Sun. Typically, if a satellite is hit by one of these particles, then the impact is not usually too severe, usually only what is considered a low-level glitch. However, there is the risk that a large amount of data can be lost when this happens, or even cause permanent damage to crucial elements of the machinery. Between all these possibilities and the increased threat these charged particles propose, it is more necessary than ever for the operators to shut these crafts down before they make it into the area impacted by the South Atlantic anomaly. NASA has begun to keep a closer eye on this, looking at both how best to protect our resources in space and at understanding the science hiding behind this complex phenomenon. Geophysicist Terry Sabaka from NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center in Greenbelt, Maryland, said, "This magnetic field is actually a superposition of fields from many current sources. It is the current assumption that the primary source of this is the molten iron in the Earth's outer core, approximately 3,400 kilometers below the surface of the Earth. This molten iron moves, and that movement produces electrical currents that contribute to our magnetic field. It seems as though the lack of consistency in this movement could be where the anomaly is seemingly arising from. Another contributor could be the African Large Low Shear Velocity Province. This is a huge mass of dense rock, around 2,900 kilometers underneath the continent of Africa. This seems to also disturb the generation of the magnetic field, propelling the drastic weakening. Furthermore, the tilt of Earth on its magnetic axis only heightens the impact of this. The way in which the Large Low Shear Velocity Province impacts the South Atlantic anomaly was explained further by NASA Goddard geophysicist and mathematician Weijia Quang, who said, "The observed SAA can also be interpreted as a consequence of weakening dominance of the dipole field in the region. We still have plenty to attempt to unravel about this strange occurrence, with some suggesting it is dividing and plenty of questions that remain unanswered. Nonetheless, this has been impacting our planet for many years and will continue to do so in the future, though we are yet to see how that will impact our space exploration. As we have continued observation and monitoring, our understanding, actions, and predictions will hopefully become more accurate and better informed." Holm 15A Black Hole. Whilst it may not be the most massive of black holes, the Holm 15A black hole has a very interesting backstory and is by no means a small black hole. It's essentially the second most massive black hole in the entire universe. Whilst observing the Abell 85 cluster, the Max Planck Institute discovered something truly incredible. The Abell 85 cluster is a collection of around 500 galaxies, but what we're interested in is what lies at the very center of this cluster of galaxies, the Holm 15A galaxy. Early calculations from scientists indicated that the center of the Holm 15A was much more dimmer than it perhaps should have been when taking into account the astronomical mass of the stars that are located within the galaxy. All of this indicated that there was something different about Holm 15A's center. Well, it turned out to be a black hole, but not just any black hole. After attempting to measure the mass of said black hole, the scientists discovered the estimates were much larger than first thought, and in fact, this black hole, now dubbed an ultramassive black hole, has a mass of around 40 billion times that of our Sun. That is a staggering number, and there's no real way to comprehend something of that scale. However, it is fascinating nonetheless. You might be wondering how something as massive as this ultramassive black hole could even exist within a galaxy, given the size of our own. Well, Holm 15A is a giant galaxy known as an elliptical galaxy. An elliptical galaxy is formed when a spiral galaxy, such as our own, the Milky Way, merges within another spiral galaxy. It goes further though, as this newly formed elliptical galaxy can then merge with another elliptical galaxy, creating an even bigger galaxy. When these galaxies merge together, the black holes in their centers can also merge, and exactly like the galaxies themselves, create an even larger black hole. When these black holes collide and get larger, it can push stars away, forming the darker center. This is how scientists discovered the Holm 15A black hole. Whilst the Holm 15A black hole is the most massive in the nearby universe, being only 700 million light-years away from us, the previous entry on this list actually trumps the Holm 15A ultramassive black hole. The Ton 618 quasar ultramassive black hole is more massive, but is located 10 billion light-years away, so cannot be considered to reside in the nearby universe. The black hole at the center of the Milky Way may be something even more mysterious. If there is one element of space that continues to mystify scientists, it is black holes, and the gaping black hole at the center of the Milky Way, named Sagittarius A star, is perhaps one of the most mysterious of them all. For starters, astronomers have long observed the strange flashing bursts of radio waves, X-rays and gamma rays being emitted in regular intervals from Sagittarius A star. But recent observations of bursts that were up to 100 times brighter than the regular bursts made researchers believe that even more mysterious elements might be at play, and they were eager to find out more. To accomplish this feat, they began to analyze the 15 years of data collected by NASA's Neil Gehrels Swift Observatory satellite, which is dedicated to detecting gamma-ray bursts like those seen coming from Sagittarius A star. The team, made up of international researchers led by Alexis Andres, were looking for any sort of regular patterns or activity that might tell them a little bit about these strange occurrences. Although no clear patterns emerged, they did notice that the frequency increased greatly between the years 2006 and 2008, with a much lower rate of activity the following 4 years before picking back up again in 2012. However, this second, more recent batch of bursts appears to follow a much different pattern from the first, puzzling researchers even more. As observation is one of the only methods we currently have at our disposal to research such enigmas as black holes, scientists hope that adding this backlog of data to the findings unfolding in present day will help to remove some of the mystery surrounding these central flares. Further study will hopefully be able to tell us exactly what is causing these bursts, be it from passing gaseous clouds, stars, or something else altogether. Co-author of the study, Dr. Jacob van den Eden from the University of Oxford said, "How the flares occur exactly remains unclear. It was previously thought that more flares follow after gaseous clouds or stars pass by the black hole, but there is no evidence for that yet. And we cannot yet confirm the hypothesis that the magnetic properties of the surrounding gas play a role either." And certainly, when it comes to solving this mystery, having access to databases full of observations taken over the past 15 years helps tremendously as researchers look to the environment around Sagittarius A star for clues that could help them piece together this massive, mysterious puzzle lurking at the center of our galaxy. Green pea galaxies may have reheated the universe. The Big Bang is the leading and most widely accepted theory as to how the universe was formed. As we understand it, we experienced a Big Bang, an explosion of sorts, in which the universe was in an incredibly hot and dense state. This was then followed by a period in which the universe cooled down for an approximate billion years. After this cooling period, there was a mysterious reheating that took place. We call this the cosmic reionization. We do not know why or how this reheating occurred, except that in 2016, an international team of scientific researchers believe they may have cracked the code, finding the hidden catalyst that kick-started this heating process. There are galaxies, dubbed green pea galaxies, thanks to how they look on the slogan Digital Sky Survey, or SDSS, which are believed to have played a key part in the cosmic reionization. These green pea galaxies are responsible for putting new stars and new galaxies into the universe in a manner not too dissimilar than the Big Bang itself. This introduced a lot of new energy into the early cosmos, possibly having had a monumental impact. Despite how long ago this took place, the dwarf galaxies created from this lay undiscovered until 2007. They were only noticed by mistake as volunteers began to study deep space photos and gradually spotted their presence. The 2016 hypothesis that these green pea galaxies were behind the cosmic reionization was a consequence of a study from the SDSS, which examined 5,000 green pea galaxies. From these 5,000, just 5 were selected to be examined and analyzed in more depth via the Hubble Space Telescope, one of which, given the snappy name J09251403, was emitting photons that had the capability to ionize hydrogen. Until this particular green pea galaxy was observed, any galaxies that had been leaking photons were at a rate so slow that they were easily absorbed by the surrounding gas and dust. J09251403, however, was ejecting photons at such a high volume and rate that the impact was far more significant. The explanation of hydrogen ionization is in keeping with the current assumptions and facts we have surrounding this reheating. Already the electrons and protons splitting apart despite being previously joined within hydrogen atoms. This would provide a new burst of energy, like what we assume would be needed. The link between cosmic reionization and these green pea galaxies is useful as it tells us where we need to be looking to find out further information. It gives us a starting point to search further into the area. It is hoped that the James Webb Space Telescope would provide some further information once it is fully configured. We may live in a massive cosmic void. In 2013, the University of Wisconsin-Madison's astronomer Amy Barger and her student Ryan Keegan made an interesting discovery. They found that the density of our nearby universe is lower than that of other parts. The density of the universe is largely uniform. However, if you break the universe up into smaller parts, it begins to look a lot like a block of Swiss cheese. These smaller parts have certain sections that are very densely packed and others that are more sparsely populated. Research suggests that Earth sits squarely in one of these barer sections, hence the suggestion that if the universe is a big block of Swiss cheese, Earth sits in one of its holes. In fact, one of Amy Barger's students, Ben Hoscheit, presented new research at a meeting of the American Astronomical Society. Hoscheit looked at disparities in measures of the Hubble constant, the number we use to describe the rate at which the universe is growing. Since it describes the condition of our universe, Hubble's constant is expected to stay the same throughout the universe. However, Hoscheit found an important difference. To get a local measurement, he found Hubble's constant by analyzing the movement of relatively close Type 1a supernovas. To get a cosmic measurement, he used cosmic microwave background radiation, leftovers from the Big Bang. Hoscheit believes that the massive void theory, also known as the Swiss cheese theory, may be to blame for the disparity in Hubble's constant, saying the constant is higher using the supernova method. This is in accordance with how we would expect a void to affect the Hubble constant. Gravity from higher density areas is pulling things out of the void at a faster rate than we would otherwise expect. Surprisingly, the astronomical research community seems to be in agreement on the massive void theory. Researchers believe that this particular void is 7 times bigger than any other void they have ever measured, and our galaxy is a few 100 million light-years away from the void's center. Surely, such findings serve to remind us once again how minuscule we are in the context of the universe. Even so, this relatively new theory brings us a step closer to understanding how our universe is built, structured, and designed, and it may help us solve other mysteries in the future. galaxy discovered on the edge of the universe, Able 2744Y1. The discovery of a brand new galaxy is always intriguing. Able 2744Y1 is one such galaxy which lies on the very edge of our observable universe. This galaxy is an estimated 50 times smaller than our own Milky Way at about 2,300 light-years in width. The shocking element is that despite its tiny size, it produces 10 times the number of stars than our Milky Way does. It also has a redshift of 8. Redshift measures a galaxy's wavelength due to the universe's expansion. Until now, most galaxies have had a wavelength redshift of 7, this proving it is on the very edge of our understanding. The galaxy was discovered using NASA's Spitzer and Hubble space telescopes, with the use of special gravitational lenses made specifically to help astronomers see further into outer space and detect distant galaxies behind the Able 2744 galaxy cluster by magnifying the light from behind those galaxies. The Able 2744Y1 finding was part of the Frontier Field program established by NASA. The program was created with seeking further galaxies in mind and really reaching as far as we can possibly go in terms of seeing even further out of the universe to try and witness more of the early cosmos. It's hoped that 6 galaxy clusters in total will be analysed under the Frontier Fields program. According to Dr. Nicholas Laporte from the Instituto de Astrofísica de Canarias, we expected to find very distant galaxies close to the cluster core, where the light amplification is maximum. However, this galaxy is very close to the edge of the Hubble image, where the light is not strongly amplified. We are really lucky that we could find it in the small field of view of Hubble. In a statement, fellow astronomers commented, "The long exposure image of the cluster Able 2744 is the deepest one obtained so far of a cluster of galaxies and is comparable to the Hubble ultra-deep field. This is, without a shred of a doubt, the most primordial galaxy we have ever seen. Its discovery itself is a blessing to researchers as it gives immense insight into the early universe and how galaxies formed. It's so ancient that the light from it that reaches the Earth is from long-gone stars that faded 13 billion years ago. Our modern image of Able 2744Y1 reflects how it looked at the time of the early universe, when it was an estimated 650 million years old. This is an amazing facet and lets us analyse much of our universe's past, especially given that the current theory for the age of the universe is about 13.8 billion years. Despite being a primordial galaxy, the pace at which it is still creating new stars mimics the pace of early universe galaxies, which are believed to have done much of the same. Nevertheless, it implies that this galaxy never slowed its star production even billions of years later and is still going strong. The Spitzer telescope used the electromagnetic spectrum to provide further insight into the galaxy from the infrared data collected using the Hubble Space Telescope. The Chandra Observatory was also used by scientists to further their research, recording its X-ray wavelengths to find out as much as they can about Able 2744Y1. NASA's Spitzer Science Center astronomer, Jason Saras, claims just a handful of galaxies at these great distances are known. The Frontier Fields program is already working to find more of these distant, faint galaxies. This is a preview of what's to come. Saturn radio signal puzzles astronomers. Astronomers are feeling a little baffled by the signals they are getting from Saturn. No, this is not angsty dating we are talking about, it's inconsistent radio signals. The northern and southern hemispheres of Saturn are sending natural radio wave signals that differ from one another. Not only that, but over time, Saturn's radio signals, which are regulated by the planet's rotation, change quite dramatically as time passes. This is possibly synchronized with the seasons of Saturn. Fellow gas giant Jupiter gave scientists the false confidence that they understood the radio wave patterns of other gas giants. Saturn is definitely proving them wrong because its radio wave signals are so different. Saturn kilometric radiation, or SKR, are the natural radio waves emitted by Saturn. They cannot be heard by the human ear, but when converted to the audio range we can hear, they sound like short bursts of a spinning air raid siren. But this noise varies with each rotation of the planet.
Jupiter's steady radio wave pattern gave scientists the opportunity to measure its rotation rate. Saturn, on the other hand, is acting like an unpredictable toddler when it comes to handing over data that will allow its rotation rate to be measured. Other spacecraft, such as NASA's European Space Agency Ulysses probe and Cassini, collected data that found the radio burst varied by seconds to minutes. In fact, Cassini, which stayed in Saturn's orbit from 2008 to 2017, observed that the radio emissions were in fact a duet and not solo emissions. But the two players in the duet are out of sync. The North Pole radio emissions have a repeat pattern of 10.6 hours, while the radio waves emitted from the South Pole repeat every 10.8 hours. However, even these times are not consistent, and it was shown that over time, Saturn's southern time period made a steady decrease while the northern time increased. Last March, the two came together at approximately 10.67 hours. Since the time of convergence, the southern SKR emissions have continued to decrease, and the northern ones have carried on increasing.
The oldest black hole in the universe. Many celestial bodies in the universe are old, but when scientists in 2017 realized they had found what could be one of the oldest black holes in the universe, they were understandably ecstatic. The black hole, ULAS J13420928, has a name just as big as its size. Astronomers were flabbergasted to find that the black hole, located millions of light years away, had a mass that's more than 800 million times larger than that of our Sun. Even more amazingly, the gigantic black hole reached this mass when the universe was only at 5% of its current age. The gargantuan ULAS black hole first came into creation a mere 690 million years after the Big Bang, a very short time in the relative time of the universe. The discovery of such a massive celestial body may teach us more about black holes and their massive sizes. This may shine a light on how the conditions of the early universe changed to what they currently are today. The black hole is also paired with a nearby quasar, and the bright display of light also takes a new record for the furthest discovered quasar. The record used to belong to ULAS J11200641, which is a distant 13.04 billion light-years from us, and came into existence around 750 million years after the Big Bang. It's believed that at the center of most, if not all galaxies, lies a supermassive black hole. These black holes are much larger than their standard-sized namesakes, and can reach anywhere from millions to billion times the mass of our Sun. Studies in the past have developed the idea that these massive space vacuums create huge displays of light as they devour local stars and other matter. These events are believed to create what we know as quasars, which are some of the brightest objects in the known universe. Because of their incredible brightness, researchers and astronomers are able to pick up and detect quasar activity from some of the farthest points in the known universe, meaning they are some of the most distant objects we know that exist. Quasars that are further away are much older in age, and the older and further a quasar is, the longer it takes for the light to travel to Earth. The hungry blob at the edge of the universe. Astronomers have some rather fantastic and somewhat amusing names for their projects, discoveries, and equipment. Whether you are giggling at the European Southern Observatory's VLT, that's Very Large Telescope, or impressed at the naming of TESS, NASA's Transiting Exoplanet Survey satellite, there is about to be another astronomical object's name that will stick in your head. A blob. The Very Hungry Blob. Quite unlike the Very Hungry Caterpillar, was discovered in 2009, though it has been sitting in our universe for much longer. So, while the Very Hungry Blob is a great name, the real name is the Lyman Alpha Blob, and we have a lot of questions about exactly what it is. Astronomer Masami Uchi, working in the observatories of the Carnegie Institution for Science in Pasadena, California, was the lead researcher of the team who wound up spotting and pinpointing the blob. Uchi and his team believe that the blobs that have been seen are a series of small galaxies, merging together to form one larger, far bigger galaxy. This is not the only suggestion going around, however. Some have suggested that cold gas moving into the galaxy is essentially feeding it, allowing it to grow, and other astronomers have suggested that the glowing blob is a cloud of gas rising in temperature as a result of a nearby supermassive black hole. What makes this observation all the more interesting is how far it is from Earth. At the time of discovery, it was the fourth most distant object we had ever observed. This is a staggering 12.9 billion light-years away. Given how long it takes light to travel, our observations are essentially looking back in time, as by the time we are observing this blob, it will have aged a great deal and certainly will not look like this anymore. In fact, this blob is about 12.9 billion years old, bringing us right back to just after the formation of the universe, which is estimated to be between 13 billion and 14 billion years old. Uchi and the research team managed to see by looking at the infrared light that was coming from space. This is a wavelength outside of the visible light spectrum and can be described as feeling like heat. This strange blob clocks in at a diameter half the size of our own Milky Way, so if it is a larger galaxy forming, it was still small in size when we made these observations. However, scientists do not anticipate it remaining small for too long. Predictions and estimations all seem to indicate that this blob is a small galaxy having a growth spurt. It had the equivalent of 40 billion suns inside it when it was first observed, though could easily have a great deal more now, absorbing and taking in more stars as it goes. A strange blob dating back to the start of the universe is a peculiar discovery, though it goes to show just how much we are waiting to find. Scientists discover rare asteroid that will follow Earth in orbit for the next 4,000 years. There are millions, if not billions, of asteroids potentially whizzing around in space. Scientists who discover these travelling lumps of rock have plenty of examples to study and learn from. But it is not every day that something truly special shows up. In this case, it is what's known as an Earth Trojan asteroid, which is a small piece of space rock that has the same orbit as Earth. A study only recently published announced that researchers had proven the asteroid's existence and also stated that the rock will be following Earth's orbit for at least another several thousand years. A team of astronomers from the Institute of Cosmos Sciences of the University of Barcelona proudly declared their discovery of 2020 XL5, the second Earth Trojan ever confirmed, after 10 years of tireless searching. 2020 XL5 is believed to be around 0.7 miles in diameter. For context, the first Earth Trojan, 2010 TK7, was 0.2 miles in diameter. The size is important in Earth Trojan asteroids, as the sweet spot allows the rock to balance within Earth's orbit around the Sun. Trojan asteroids are nothing new. For decades, we have been aware of Trojans on Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Uranus, and Neptune, though Earth ones have proven to be more elusive. There have been many previous attempts to find Earth Trojans. Tony Santana Ross, one of the authors of the new publication, said to press, "All the dedicated efforts had so far failed to discover any new members of this population. Spotting Earth Trojans is surprisingly difficult. Because of their distance to the Sun, the window of opportunity to spot them is very small. It is only around sunrise that we can try to catch a glimpse of them." However, scientists have got around this by utilizing huge telescopes in Arizona and Cerro Pachon in Chile to photograph the asteroids. Scientists are interested in Trojans mostly due to their age, as many of them were around during the earliest stages of the solar system. They are effectively time capsules of the conditions for that time. In fact, NASA's Lucy mission, which launched in October 2021, is set to visit 8 different Trojan asteroids in the next 12 years. Mars is humming. The InSight rover landed on Mars in November 2018, landing near the equator of the Red Planet. NASA's robot has been measuring the planet's seismic activity and conducting tests on its geographic qualities. Its mission is to understand and learn about the geology of rocky planets to observe their evolution and gain some more understanding about Earth's history and potential future. Scientists cannot get enough data on rocky planets just from Earth. they need to gather information from others. InSight landed in the Elysium Planitia, a small crater located on a volcanic plain. This location is often caught in wind and dust storms. The data it has gathered so far suggests that the seismic activity and magnetic field on Mars are much stronger than the researchers estimated, about 10 times more. While collecting data, the rover recorded a strange humming sound that researchers and experts have not been able to concretely identify the cause of. They have their speculations, though, and suggest it is caused by both seismic movement below the surface as well as the wind above it. When combined together, these two forces create a strange sound. The hum actually cannot be heard by humans. It falls outside our frequency range but gets picked up on readings by the robot and its machines. So any future human visitors will not be able to hear Mars humming. The researchers are excited at finding so many similarities between Mars and Earth. The infrasound, sound we can't hear, and the atmospheric turbulence are encouraging to their studies on finding out Mars's history and seeing what its timeline looks like compared to ours. Interestingly enough, Earth also has a faint infrasound humming to it. There have been reports of a hum that have been a hot debate for many years, even outside the astronomy community. Scientists can't really explain it, but many people try to blame it for certain diseases and health issues. There have been many locations across Earth that have complained of some sort of noise pollution and mysterious humming sounds. Now, InSight has identified a similar one on Mars. The robot was using a seismometer to measure the quakes underneath the planet. Since its first reading, it has measured over 400 quakes. It even managed to find fault lines on Mars, which confirms the constant seismic activity found. A few of the quakes have registered at 3 to 4 magnitudes, but most of them were so small that the machines and scientists were unable to detect their origin. Researchers also found that there are more quakes on Mars when the planet gets cold. When it cools down, it contracts, which forces the brittle layers near the surface to break in a way to accommodate their positioning. This breaking is causing stress on the surface that results in quakes. There are still many mysteries that the InSight researchers are excited about delving into, like how they recorded some type of activity at Mars's depth. They believe there might even be hot magma still at its core. They will continue to measure the activity and gather as much knowledge about Mars's geological history as possible. Astronomers discover hidden trove of massive black holes. Sometimes we can look at something time and time again, still never noticing every detail. Whether it is a missed clue in your favorite film or a seemingly new brushstroke in a painting, this is something each one of us has experienced. Well, it appears that the scientific world is no exception. A research team, led by those at the University of North Carolina, has uncovered a whole host of massive black holes in dwarf galaxies, despite us looking in the areas previously. These massive black holes have been looked past over and over, but now that we know that they are there, they could have a huge potential to help us figure out the details behind the supermassive black hole in the center of the Milky Way. Our galaxy takes the form of a giant spiral, meaning, as our current understanding has us believe, it's made up of lots of small dwarf galaxies and they're merging together. One example of this is the Magellanic Clouds. These clouds are irregular galaxies that appear as an illuminated patch in the sky. They are seen in the south, and they are understood to be dwarf galaxies that will eventually become part of the Milky Way. When a new dwarf galaxy enters our galaxy, there is the potential that it brings along with it a massive black hole at its center. It's currently thought that an inevitable question of when, rather than if, this massive black hole will be absorbed by the supermassive black hole at the center of the Milky Way. While we acknowledge that this is a possibility, in reality, we do not know how often dwarf galaxies contain massive black holes. This is a glaring gap in our current knowledge, as we know very little about how black holes and galaxies grow, develop, and interact with one another. This new research, published in the Astrophysical Journal, helps us to connect the dots as we uncover the black holes we simply had not seen before. Lead author of the study, Magda Polomera, said, This result really blew my mind because these black holes were previously hiding in plain sight. It can be a fairly difficult process to detect black holes, evidenced by us repeatedly glossing over them. Usually, we can find them when they take in gas, as this results in them growing and makes them glow. Professor Sheila Kanapan, the co-author of the study, likened black holes to fireflies, in that we can only see them when they are lit up. So, if the black holes are not actively growing, then we do not know how many are truly there. Adding to this confusion is that the high-energy radiation characteristic of growing black holes is not exclusively a feature of them alone. New stars can be seen to have the same high-energy radiation. The research team realized that they could test where these signals were coming from, with a different number of tests, allowing us to conclude if it is a young star being formed or a black hole growing that is being observed. So far, this research seems very promising, with a new acknowledgement that there is sometimes more to the picture than what we can see. The theories we currently hold are growing and expanding in size, allowing us to deepen our understanding, and more research will eventually be conducted, hopefully providing further evidence towards what we think we already know. But what do you make of these recent discoveries? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.